전술과 전략, 1차 대전기 전차들. 앞전에 뭐 이상한 그 샹샤모인가 있었는데 비슷한 느낌 같습니다. 근데 우리 기억에만 안 와. 요 있네, 요 뒤에. 요거죠. 요게 보통 초기 전차라는 느낌이잖아. 자, 1차 대전.
Not long ago, War Thunder introduced tanks from the First World War. These strange and towering
Saint-Chamond.
machines don't resemble anything from the modern era, or even their own
그쪽의
descendants.
아버지,
Sure,
할아버지.
they might lack the firepower or familiar features like turrets, but make no mistake, they're still powerful combat vehicles that can hold their own in battle. Today, we'll show you how. The game currently features 4 World War I tanks and 1 armored car. About the only things they have in common are their sluggish pace and modest armor that is usually around 15 millimeters thick. Back then, tank design was a matter of pure invention, which is why the German A7V, the French Saint-Chamond, and the British Mark V have very little in common. The British Mark V and Mark IV, with their distinctive rhomboid shape, were a direct evolution of the world's first production tank, the Mark I. They don't have turrets or forward-mounted guns. Instead, each of them packs 2 57mm cannons mounted in sponsons on the sides of the vehicle, along with 4 machine guns. The Mark V is part of the British tech tree, while the captured Mark IV is part of the German lineup. The main difference between them comes down to their gun and machine gun configurations, but the differences are small. 57mm cannons are capable of punching through light targets like the BT-5 and make short work of armored cars and anti-aircraft vehicles. Heavier enemies, like Soviet multi-turreted tanks or early German panzers, are best attacked from the side or through their weak spots, like the area near the gun mantlet on the T-28. Thanks to excellent horizontal gun traverse, lining up these shots isn't too difficult. Just keep in mind that the sponsons themselves are quite vulnerable. The layout is both a strength and a weakness of these British tanks. Many opponents won't even know where to aim, the front or the sides. The real key to victory, though, is to protect the ammo storage in the rear. If you carry just a few dozen shells, these tanks can actually survive quite a bit of punishment thanks to their massive 8-man crews. Mobility, however, is not their strong suit. These tanks are among the slowest in the game. The German variant tops out at 6 kilometers an hour, the British one at 8, and their reverse speeds are barely worth mentioning. They're best suited for smaller maps, like Advance to the Rhine or Abandoned Factory. Look for strong firing positions, say near the monument on the Rhine, and focus on taking out light tanks like the BT or the T-26.
요즘은 좀 잠잠한데 지난번에 뭡니까 그 만우절 그처럼
The French
조커처럼 나왔던
Saint-Chamond and
오병전
the German
있잖아요.
A7V
언제 나오냐
rolled
물어보는
off the
사람 너무
factory
많더라고.
floor a little later than the British tanks, and their designs are easier to work with.
썬더
The
오병전
Saint-Chamond, for
나오면
instance, is
의외로
both
인기
faster
많을지도.
and better armed. It can reach up to 12 kilometers an hour going forward or in reverse, and surprisingly quickly as well. But the real star here is its gun. The shells of the 1897 field howitzer pack enough punch to take out early World War II era tanks like the Panzer III, and they don't just penetrate, they obliterate targets, thanks to a lot of explosive filler. The gun doesn't have great horizontal traverse, but comes with solid depression angles, which means that the vehicle should be used almost like a tank destroyer. You find a good spot, range your target, and fire. Since the gun is mounted under a bulky and lightly armored structure, it's best to use binoculars for spotting. One shot to this upper structure can send the Saint-Chamond straight back to the garage. So choose your targets carefully and prepare thoroughly for each engagement. The A7V, meanwhile, is probably the best all-around tank of the bunch. Well-armored, effective, and surprisingly easy to use. It has the same 57mm gun as the captured Mark IV, mounted front and center with excellent gun depression and traverse. The gun also fires powerful shells with over 100 grams of explosive filler. A 200 horsepower engine gets this beast moving at up to 12 kilometers an hour, which is quite fast by World War I standards. But what really sets it apart is the crew. The A-7V
저기
has the
저렴하게
biggest
탔나?
one in the
와.
entirety of War Thunder. You could man 6 Flaw-Rock rods with it. That many crew members means the tank can soak up quite a few hits, as long as it's not being hit with HE rounds, of course. It's an excellent defensive tank, and in the right hands, can even survive engagements with more advanced vehicles. Just be mindful of the distinctive hump on the roof. It's not just a weak spot. That's where the driver sits. A single well-placed shot to this area can instantly immobilize the vehicle. And then there's the Garford-Putilov,
자,
a
그리고
World War I
차륜.
armored car developed in the Russian Empire. Compared to other wheeled vehicles, it's not exactly fast. 18 kilometers an hour in either direction is all
차라리
you
얘가
get. Still,
현대전에서는 더
it's
맞을 것
great
같다.
for both attacking and retreating,
기동도
as
좀
long as
나오고.
you're thinking a few moves ahead. You'll also need to consider your firing angles and distances, because the Garford can't shoot forward. Its 76mm gun only operates in a rear-facing arc, albeit a fairly wide one. Moreover, its high explosive shells have poor ballistics, which is not great, as defeating well-armored targets requires precision. Aim for the tops of their hulls and turrets, where they typically don't have as much armor, or the turret front. Against lighter vehicles and AA guns,
이거
though,
진짜
a hit anywhere
정유별에
usually does
들어와
the trick.
있나요?
Getting used to the way the gun handles is certainly a
있는 거야.
challenge, but once you've got it down, the Garford-Putilov can hold its own even against more modern vehicles. World War I tanks might be relics of a bygone era, but they offer a completely different gameplay experience with their own
보통
quirks
이벤트
and
진행을
strengths.
3랭크 이상으로
Do you
하잖아요.
have a favorite
그걸
vehicle
그냥
from the
모든
Great War?
랭크의 때로
Let us know in the
맞춰주면
comments
좋겠다.
down below.
제 느낌. 큰 상관없지 않나. 그랬으면 좋겠습니다. 끝.